Good afternoon, morning, or night, wherever you are. Again, this is Adam Walter, and I'm here with Lauren for part two of PCs for People. And last session, we really just dived into like where do PCs for People come from? What's kind of its mission? What are they actually doing? How can you generally use them? But this session, I felt like it needed a whole session for like what what are the operations like for PCs for People? Like, how do you decide which PCs are good, which ones are bad, which ones need to be smelted down for slag, which ones can be refurbished? Do you Frankenstein them together? Do you have to order parts? And so tell me a little bit of the process. You receive a computer. So like I'm an MSP and I want to give you some computers. So walk me through the process of I would need to give you some computers. How does this work? I know I fill out a form and then what do
Sure.
you guys do with that?
Sure. Well, um, I would say prior to the point, I would love it if as soon as I met at MSP, they said, "We have computers, let's go." But usually there's a couple of questions like, "Oh, you want to come take my computers or take my customers' computers? What about the data?" That's the first thing I have to do is I have to answer the question about the data in most cases. And then it gives me the opportunity to explain that we are certified by the National Association of Information Destruction, or NAID for short, for data destruction. We're AAA certified, and that defines our process. So I'll tell you about the process, but a lot of it is defined by the certification body. And what that means is once we know what equipment you have, whether it's at your shop or at your customer's office, um, we come out, we pick it up, and I'll talk to the geography and the minimum on that in a minute. But let's say you're in one of our 12 PCs for People cities and you have 50 computers. We'll come out, we'll pick it up. It'll be our employees who are background checked that pick it up, not a third party. And that's part of the certification. Um, they are under, is very strictly defined how they handle the equipment. It goes into the back of the truck. The truck is always locked. The truck is not unattended and open at any time. The truck goes back to our tech center or to one of our 12 tech centers. It gets unloaded. Once it's in the tech center, the equipment's under camera surveillance. We keep that surveillance footage for 90 days or longer, minimum of 90 days. The data gets securely deleted to HIPAA standard, Department of Defense standard, and just about any other standard. If we can't delete all the data on any device, that hard drive goes into a shredder. Every location has an industrial sized shredder in it, and the drives get shredded if we can't securely delete all data. And then we refurbish as many computers as we can for our mission to go to low income households. And as I said last week, we have wiped all the data. We've wiped all licensing. It's our fresh Microsoft Windows 11 licensing that goes onto the computer before it's distributed. But going back, it's easy for the partner to work with us. They fill out a form, either a Word document or online. It asks about 10 pieces of information. What equipment is there? Where is it located? Is there a shipping dock or not? And then we come out and pick it up, make it really easy. There's no need to sort through equipment. We take it all. We take all IT equipment. It can be broken. It can be working. It doesn't need to be tested. Data doesn't need to be deleted. As I explained, we do that. Even if you do delete the data, we're going to do it again because that's part of our certification.
Okay, so you are a certified destruction. I can't remember what it's called. Like, so you're gonna give the audit trail to the MSP no matter what. So I've got this pallet of crap. I'm gonna put it onto this pallet. I'm gonna say, please take this away from me, and you take the pallet of the POC, and you're going to sort it and give me a certificate of destruction based upon, hey, this serial number, this serial number, this serial number, or whatever the identifier is on the PC, and that way we know that asset tags have been removed. We know that when this goes to a new user, they have no idea it came from my client. They just know they get a new PC. So that's awesome. But like, how do you where's your line for a PC, like if I gave you my old XPS 333 that I talked about yesterday, are you going to refurbish that and send it to a client?
So if it's that old, we are not. We're going to delete the data. Rest assured, even if it's that old, we'll delete your old photographs from the 1990s or whatever whatever you left on it. But something that old is not going to get refurbished and reused by a low income household. We will try to scavenge parts from it if there are any parts that are compatible. If we can scavenge some memory, some hard drives, anything else that we can use in a more modern computer, we'll certainly do that. But that will not get used in whole. After we've scavenged the parts that we can scavenge, we tear down computers and other IT equipment into about 25 or 30 different commodities, and we work with downstream responsible recyclers who give us pennies on the pound for most commodities, and they pledge to keep everything out of landfills as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I don't think you're going to recover any data from this hard drive here. I mean, this is my drive from my XPS 333 back in the day.
Nice.
I love that computer. I often think, like, if I hadn't taken the cover off of this hard drive, I might have been able to recover data from it, because about 12 inches of sewage went through this computer.
Oh, wow.
As when I got out of college, all my stuff was in my parents' basement while I was doing my internship, and this sewage backup happened. We had 8 inches of rain, destroyed everything in my house. And
Oh,
all of
that,
my stuff happened to be stuff in the basement. And so when I was in, I took this as my souvenir from that PC. It was a grand old computer. I wish I still had it, could run. If I could have an XPS 333 that I could run at home with the original OS. I think I had Windows 98 second edition was on it.
nice, nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, there's some nostalgia there for those old things, but yeah, you do have a line. Did you say what the line was when you were talking? I can't remember.
So it tends to it ebbs and flows, and a lot of it is operating system dependent. So for the last
Windows 11.
right, probably a lot of your listeners know the Windows 10 support ends coming up here in October. So we started 12 months, more than 12 months, more before last October, only shipping Windows 11 to our recipients. So that was kind of a natural line. If a computer could be upgraded enough to support Windows 11, we would do that. But we stopped shipping Windows 10 because we don't want to frustrate the low-income households that are getting a computer from us, and 6 months or 8 months after they get it, start getting all kinds of messages.
Yeah.
Demanding updates, or maybe their computer can't even update. So why do that? Instead, we just started shipping with Windows 11. I think it was 15 months in advance, actually, is where we cut the line.
Yeah.
So it's going to depend. Most computers will work for 8 or 9 years as long as they'll work with the operating system. And most organizations use computers for 3 or 4 years. So we're getting another 4 to 6 years of usable life out of those computers that are coming out of offices.
Yeah, and I think that's a great idea. Like, because I mean, you kind of get into this little habit of being an engineer. Like, oh, I can fix this. I can make this work. All I have to do is throw Debian on this, and it'll be fine. But not a lot of people at home have a use for Debian. Not a lot of them have a use for Linux OS, even though we may love it. We may love OpenOffice and Debian on a computer or whatever your favorite flair of Linux is. A lot of these households are just people that just need to do QuickBooks at home. They need to um, stream Netflix. Whatever it is they're going to do on their PC, they need to be familiar. And Windows 11 is where it's at. And you can't exactly throw a Mac OS 10 whatever on it because it's not a Mac. Do you guys get very many Macs in?
We get, because we work with lots of offices, it just depends how well Apple is penetrating the office environment in any given era. So we do.
Marketing areas only. To
Yeah,
get these
yeah,
really high end ones.
yeah, yeah. And they still tend to use them for a while, but we do get some. We often set them aside for special projects, or put them in our retail stores, and we will get low income folks who want to pursue careers that require graphics more so. So they'll pick those computers when they come in.
Yeah, I remember one time I was working at a company and they had done an acquisition, and the marketing department all had Alienware PCs for whatever reason, and they were like these $4,000 PCs, and they basically stripped out all the hard drives. They didn't want to goof around with that, and said, "All right, we're going to sell these for $50 to whoever wants one in engineering." And there was this mad dash of all the engineers. I mean, there's 500 engineers,
Oh,
and wanting these PCs, and there's only like 30 of them or something. And so they started this like bidding war, and then all of a sudden they're like, you know what, we're just gonna do a random lottery. So let's put your name in, and we're just gonna like, and I ended up getting one. I thought I was the coolest guy ever at that point.
good for you.
I got one of these. I went and spent like $150 on a new hard drive because I had to get a good one. Slapped it in there and rebuilt it, and it was awesome.
Nice.
So getting refurbished PCs, I think some of the other places I did some really cool refurbished PCs from was there used to be government auctions. Used to be a great place for you to buy refurbished PCs. And I remember getting some old Dell servers. They were 4U Xeon processor servers. I started throwing like Linux on. I think I threw, oh gosh, I don't even remember what Fedora. I think I threw on it. Fedora 4. So if anybody wants to date me there. And I started building up server farms clusters because VMware ESX 3.5i had just come out and you could throw it on anything for free. And so I started building up these clusters off these used servers, and I started building a server farm. The thing that stopped me was the fact that Microsoft licensing did not support virtual servers at the time. And but I had a really cool thing going there. My idea was that we would have really low cost servers for nonprofits that could have hosted environments. We would just have one forest in AD, and you would just join the forest with your particular cheap server. So do you do any like servers or anything like that for small businesses where maybe like extra services where you actually help them build like their Active Directory forest, or they join an existing forest or go into Azure? Tell me about more about how you help these small businesses.
So our main distribution is just to low income households. Now, some of
Okay.
those households can be small business owners, and in that case, we might step outside the usual desktops and notebooks we're supplying, and on a case by case basis, see where we can help them. Our ability to do consulting like that is pretty limited. If they say, "Here's the hardware we need," we can sometimes help them out as long as they meet our income criteria. Again, as long as the individual meets our low income criteria, we can sometimes step outside of the desktops and notebooks that we're shipping and distributing every day. So we can help out like that, but we're not in the same kind of consultative role that MSPs are. That's outside of our lane.
What do you do for like business class like servers? Like you see a really good server there that's like, do you have like an auction site for them, or do you give them away to like MSPs or consultants? Like, hey, we just wiped this server. It's 3 years old. It was donated to us. It's probably worth $1,500 still, $2,000 still to somebody. What do you do with those?
Yeah, so if we would get something in that's not appropriate or not needed by a low income household, like the item you described, and we found that it still had true market value to it, we do have a surplus eBay store, and we'll put that on there, and we'll describe it just like any good eBay seller does. Describe everything about it, and we'll put it out there, sell it, and bring in more money. We're a nonprofit 501c3. We need funding too. We have to put gas in the trucks, and we have 160 some employees
Just
that
because you're
we
a
pay.
nonprofit doesn't mean you operate for free.
Exactly. You know, we have to have the roof fixed in our Chicago location, and no one's going to fix it for free just because we're a nonprofit. The roof repair guy has to get paid too.
So there you go. Some of your MSPs, like I know for a fact that some of you have a use case or just a cheap that you need a server out on somebody. Somebody's in a desperate situation. They can't afford a new server. They need something, and you're okay doing kind of a white box scenario. You're going to self warranty it. But the thing is, you go to eBay and you don't really know who's trustworthy. I present to you PCs for people. Like, look for their
Yeah.
storefront. If it's
Yeah.
done by them, you know they're a certified agency. You know that they've wiped this appropriately, and they're American based, so you can say it stayed within the borders. It didn't get any chips soldered to it. But you can speak reasonably confident about it as long as it came from PCs for People on their eBay store. So I think that's a really good solution for some people. Like every once in a while, you just need a JBOD. You need something with just some disks in it that I'm going to use for a NAS. I'm going to throw a Linux OS on it and give my customer an open storage box. But these are things that you can do now as an MSP, knowing that you have kind of a certified reseller here. Not certified reseller, a trustable reseller over here that you can grab something off. Look, I just need the bare bones, bare iron. Don't give me an OS or anything. Just give me that HP server there. Just give me that Dell 1U server. I'm going to slam it in here and I will take care of the rest. So you as an IT consultant, you know what this is. You know what it's for, and you know how you can use it. And I think that's a great thing to have as a resource, is being able to say that I have somewhere I can buy used PC server, whatever from. Maybe it's even a Ubiquity, blah, 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 like something that you have a use for and you know it's coming from a trustworthy source. So I did not even think of that before this podcast, of that you might have extra assets that you don't want to use, that don't fit within your delivery model. And like, hey, what do I do with this, $5,000 HP server I have been given because no one wanted to deal with it? Often you MSPs don't want to resell something. Give it to Lauren so that he can resell it and they can fix their roof.
Yeah,
It
absolutely. I
goes to
never
a
thought of
good
it.
place. Do you do
Yeah.
anything uh like receipts so that people can do write-offs, anything like that can help them out? So like, hey, I donated $600,000 worth of assets to you. Here's my receipt. How does that work for your agency?
So there's several different receipts that we offer. The first is when we pick up equipment, whether it's in an MSP office or the end user's office, we immediately issue a transfer of ownership receipt. And that basically just says PCs for People takes responsibility for this equipment right here and now. All liability, all responsibility. So that comes out electronically, automatically when we pick up equipment. The next receipt, and this is upon request, is the certificate of data destruction. And I'd say 75% or more of our partners request that. And that gives you, once we've deleted all the data or shredded the hard drives, if we couldn't delete the data, that gives you a line by line, serial number by serial number report and certification that all data was destroyed. And a lot of folks want that. We're happy to issue that, and there's no charge. The third receipt is a charitable contribution receipt, and that's just like a thank you note with our tax ID number on it, stating we're a 501c3, and we received the following equipment from ABC Company. We do not provide monetary valuations. That's up to the donor to decide what it's worth and any tax consequences.
Yep.
We rarely get asked for that, quite honestly. We offer it up. I think it is because a lot of times the equipment's been depreciated. We talked about how an organization uses a computer 3 or 4 years, and how the organization you worked for could literally give away these high-end computers. Well, I'm guessing they didn't really care about the $50 because they probably depreciated it down to
Yeah, I think the
$0.
number of companies that fully depreciate up front, and so it's just a non-issue.
Yeah.
They know this is going to be worthless when they're done with it, so they just depreciate and take the tax break up front.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's why we talk about in our, if you ever looked at our software before, like it says talk depreciation value with your clients, because that's what they care about. They don't care about end of life. They don't know this is fully depreciated. I no longer need it after 3 years. Get rid of it. I will buy a new one because my taxes say I should buy a new one, and I'll depreciate that one.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
depreciation is the name of the game here. And, sometimes people don't. Like, it's a smaller mom and pop company, and they don't do depreciation very well. And in that case, you might want to do your client a favor and say, hey, look, we're giving it to this charity. If you have not depreciated this asset, you have like 2 PCs you're using, let's go ahead and just depreciate them now. knowing that we have a receipt and you can go ahead and get a tax break, and you can talk your client into replacing that PC a little sooner. So there's a great narrative here when you work with professional agencies like Lauren at PCs for People, where you can make it easier for your client to upgrade, which makes it easier on you because you have a piece of hardware that's more up to date. It's going to need less servicing, and they get a great piece of hardware that's going to help some poor family out to get ahead in life. And do not underestimate the value of having great resources like this. What we take for granted, a lot of people would love to have. That this idea that you have a PC that works and is not breaking constantly. There are people out there, they don't have a computer, they have their phone. That's it. They don't get to sit down and type up things. I remember when I was first starting out, and given this is a long time ago, I had a guy come into our PC repair shop, and he was doing his best. He was a hard labor. He was a really great operator for, I think, a crane operator, and he was trying to fill out a resume and apply to a job because it was only online, and he had no idea what these computer things were. No idea. He was a crane operator. That's what he did, or a backhoe operator. It was one of the two. And so I saw him like struggling at our free computers, trying to like punch out things and like, how do I make the letters big? And I remember saying, do you want me to help you out? So I sat down with him. We typed up his resume. We got him online and got him the job. And I know it's been 30 years, but this still happens today, where the things that you think everybody knows, the technology you think everybody has access to, they don't. There's still people who are hurting, who do need help, who do need this stuff. And that's where Pieces for People are. And that thing that you're trying to get rid of, it might be the difference between them getting a job and getting an upgrade for their family, or staying where they are. So communicate this with your clients. Let's get this going. Find some time with PCs for People. Create a project with them. Look them up. Fill out a form, and kind of get that supply chain going. That circle. We're going to post it on our site. We're going to have it available for everybody on our site as a tool, as a resource. So please check them out there. But in the meantime, pcsforpeople.com, right?
Yep, .com or .org. Either way works.
Yep. And I'll also post that in the comments down here. Please like or subscribe us, as if you think this is great information, so you can get more of it. Click on the link below that we're going to put in the comment section, and hopefully you get about 1 billion more computers coming in, and you won't know what to do with them all.
We'll take them.
Any final words there, Lauren?
Thanks, Adam. I really appreciate spending time with you today and last week, and I look forward to working with members of your community.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you a lot for coming on, and we'll see everyone else next week.